man, we're off and running on the Crook Show. Hope everybody's having a good night tonight. Raj from RSF 49ers in the house on this Tuesday, March the 19th. 19, the number of Deebo Samuel. Oh, the former number of Deebo Samuel. Brandon Aiyuk. You look at Raj has got an Aiyuk jersey. We may talk a little Aiyuk tonight. What's going on, Raj? How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm happy. Free agency's been fantastic. I think I'm good. Good to be here with you. How are you, Larry?
I'm doing good. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. MarinAutoglass.com, Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. And Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles in Pacific Grove. Call Anthony Catania, 831-521-5264. What's going on, man? A lot going on. You got your water. I got a little glass of water here.
Gotta have that water. You gotta hydrate. I had a nosebleed 10 minutes before I hopped on with your live, so I stay hydrated.
What happened? Some kind of domestic situation in the home?
No. I just get nosebleeds. When I was younger, I used to get I have a heart condition, so sometimes it flares up. My blood's really thick, so it's happened. But we're good. We're ready
You're
to talk
good now.
Niners.
You're all right. You're solid right now.
We're good.
The free agency thing has been kind of interesting for the 49ers. And before we get into, I titled this stream 49ers biggest need, offensive tackle or cornerback, because I really think that they've done so much, of filling their needs in free agency, much more than we've seen the last couple of years. And now it's like, where do they even really have holes? I mean, look around. They signed Chase Lucas, a special team guy, corner. They signed Isaac Yadam, gave them another corner, so they're a little deeper at corner. They signed a couple linebackers, Ezekiel Turner and Devondre Campbell, whether you like them or not. That adds to their depth. And then two defensive ends in Leonard Floyd and Yatir Gross-Matos, and then two defensive tackles in Malik Collins and Jordan Elliott. Brandon Parker, a veteran offensive tackle, was brought in as well. And then yesterday, Josh Dobbs was announced that he's going to be the number 2 quarterback. So what do you think, Raj? I mean, what do you think of what the Niners have done thus far as additions?
I love it, man. I mean, they're not splashy names, but they're guys that the Niners are gonna place on this roster that are talented. Look at the guys they lost, like Armstead, Kinlaw, yeah, okay, Chase Young, Randy Gregory, all these guys. They replaced them with quality players that may not have a splashy name, but they know the system. They know they could get the most out of them. Like, look at Chris Kasurik. He takes defensive linemen every single year. You don't know him, and then he squeezes all the talent out of them, and then they get paid. Arden Key, Kerry Hyder, Samson Ebicam, Charles Amenahu, Clellan, for all those guys came to the Niners. He got them paid, and they were really good. And that's what they do, is they're going to go replace guys like Charles Amenahu and Ebicam. So I like the defensive linemen. Leonard Floyd, 2 years, $20 million, way better than the $13 million that Chase Young was guaranteed by the Saints. He was very inconsistent last year. Leonard Floyd, we talked about it. He's had 4 years of at least 9 sacks. He's played 100 straight games, 108 straight games. They're durable, the players they got. And the 49ers added a few depth players here and there. It sets them up really good for the draft. They can get best player available. They can trade their draft picks up and go get a guy like Mims if they want to, or even someone even better at tackle. And honestly, I really like the Dobbs signing. I think he's going to be the best backup quarterback in the NFC West. But I love it. That's just my take on it.
Wow, so you're incredibly positive. Did you see Bears Vikings with Dobbs on Monday night late in the year?
Yeah. The comeback. Like, the guy didn't even know the facility.
He was terrible that night.
Well, that was the 4 interception game, but before that game, he had a Linsanity run. I'm talking about his little stretch of games where you're like, oh my god, and he
did well
like
against Pete Dallas, right?
I think it was his. I thought we're talking about his first game. I think that was against Atlanta. He didn't know anybody. He didn't even know how to get in the facility, and they won the game, comeback game. So I like him. He's not perfect, but he's better than Darnold. He's cheaper, $2 million, and He's better than your boy Zach Wilson, who you said we were getting.
Well, I was hoping they would get Zach Wilson. Here's the thing about Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson has never, he's there. He's going to compete, and there's always the chance that there could be bad blood. You know what I mean, between him and Purdy. And why introduce that?
You don't
Why
need
even
drama.
introduce that possibility? To me, the more I thought about it, the more I thought the veteran free agent made sense. I was thinking maybe Carson Wentz. People were saying Tannehill, but I'm
Hmm.
okay with Dobbs. He's smart. He's athletic. He's a good guy. He's been around the block a lot, but
Yeah,
ultimately, can Josh Dobbs win you a few games with Shanahan and the weapons they have? I think so,
yeah, that's
and
all
that's
you
what
want.
it's about.
Yeah, I agree. Couple games here and there if needed. You don't want him to be your full time starter. That's definitely not what you want. But I think for a few games here and there, it'll be fun. The pasture not. I like it. I like the Dobbs pickup. It's a fun pickup.
Yeah, no question about it. And it kind of makes them it checks another box. So they
Hmm.
don't have to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
They really don't need a running back. Tight end's probably going to be a late pick anyway.
Mm.
It's really now they can focus on their offensive line if they want. They can focus on their defensive line, improving that if they want, and they can improve. To me, the debate now that you've got all these boxes checked and you've gotten your couple defensive tackles, you've got a couple defensive ends, you've got a couple DBs, you've got a linebacker or two, you got your backup quarterback. You're not you re-signed McKivitz at right tackle, and Feliciano, so you do have a ready-made offensive line that at least was good enough to go to the Super Bowl, even if it's not what people want.
No.
What is in your mind as we sit here on the 19th of March? What's the primary focus going into the draft in your mind? Is it offensive tackle, or is it that did we learn a lesson from the Super Bowl? Man, McDuffie and Snead were incredible, and the 49ers need a true number one corner to go with Mooney Ward and Diamador Lenore. Where's the bigger need in your mind?
Honestly, I still think it's the right tackle position because okay, I like McKivitz for what he is, good value. He's a good value tackle. Not gonna lie, he's okay, but I think he'd be a great swing tackle. If anything ever happens, he could come in. He knows the system, pretty good at for when he needs to be called upon. But I don't want him to start. I want it like an elite lineman. There's some really generational tackles in this draft, Larry. And now that like you said, they pretty much hit all their needs. They don't necessarily need to knock this first round pick out of the park. They got a Super Bowl roster. They can trade a couple of their picks and move up, maybe, to get a top 15 pick, top 20 pick, and maybe go get a premium right tackle. You go get a stud right tackle, you add him onto this line. Feliciano is really good at guard. He's coming back. So you got Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, who's in a contract year. He'll play good. Jake Brendel, Feliciano, and then stud right tackle. And then you got Colton McGivitz now as a swing tackle. That I feel a lot better about that situation because at the end of the day, this team needs to protect Brock Purdy. Absolutely need to keep him upright. You need to give him time to let the receivers get open because you're right. The cornerbacks of the Chiefs cooked the Niners, but they didn't have a lot of time to get open. Like one thing with Brandon Ayuk, his routes didn't develop, quick enough because Purdy was rushed a lot. So I think if they could get a right tackle, it'd be great. I would love to get another cornerback. I mean, I still think Lenore and Ward are great, but it definitely would be nice to have another premium corner with those two guys. I still think they can. Corners you can find. Right tackles are a dime a dozen, Larry. Tackles are a dime a dozen. I want them to get the best tackle they can get. I know right now at 31, if they stay put, I want them to take the best player available. I don't want them to sit there and reach for a need. I need them to go get the best player available. So if it's a DB, if it's a edge guy, whatever the case is, but if I'm drafting, Larry, I'm trading up and getting the best right tackle that I can get.
I think they're in a uniquely special position because they don't really have a lot of needs. And I did a mock draft this afternoon. I do one a week on the
Mm-hmm.
channel, and this was my mock draft 4.0. And I was just trying to see if I could get both a Patrick Surtain trade and a really good replenishment of their offensive line in the same draft. Because to me, that would be like hitting the home run. If you could get that shutdown corner, that man, you now have Sertan and Mooney and
Mm.
Lenore, and you could fortify your offensive line. Man, I think that would be a tremendous draft. So I went through the thing and I made a trade with Denver, and I
Oh,
traded basically this year's this year's two, this year's three, and then a conditional pick next year that could be a one, a two, or a three, based
oh,
on based on how how Sertan played and how the
okay.
Niners won.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so basically, it was like two high picks, like 2 and 3 this year for sure, and then next year probably like a two
Mm.
for Sertan
For Sertan, I
for
would do
Sertan.
it. I'd dig
So
it.
I still had my number one this year, and then I didn't pick again till the fourth round. And my mock
Mm.
draft, I got Zach Frazier out of West Virginia at the end of the first round. I got Garrett Greenfield, South Dakota State tackle, who I like a lot, in the fourth round. And then I finished the draft with Malik Mustafa, the safety, Jonah Ellis from Utah, the pass rusher, Muhammad
Okay.
Kamara, pass rusher from Colorado State, I really like, Kari Coleman, a linebacker from Ole Miss, Mason Pline, the tight end from Furman, and then I went with Frank Gore Jr. to round it out in the last round.
For the
Um,
culture.
yeah, so there you go. I found a way in my mind to get both needs done. If they could get, Frazier and Greenfield and have their center of the future, their right tackle of the future, and get Sertan, to me, that's the home run mock draft if you can get it. It's hard to do because Frazier is comes off the board early. And some people don't, I'm a big fan of Greenfield, who I think is going to be there in the third round. But I understand people who are like, I want the tackle in the first round. I could go center later and tackle earlier.
Yeah,
But in this thing, Frazier's such a dominating blocker
yeah. That's
that I went
tough.
with Frazier.
I like it. Honestly, I don't mind it because at the end of the day, Larry, you are not just drafting for this year. You're drafting for the future because if you really think about it, Jake Brendel, he's 32. How much more years are they going to keep him around, you know? So they do need to replace him at some point. Feliciano, he's in his last year most likely. He tweet, on his Instagram post, last ride, 10 years. So you hope Burford can take the step up, but maybe you get a guy that could be versatile, play guard, center, whatever. So you definitely want an interior guy to replace. You want the tackle because you want to upgrade from McKivitz, but also you need a guy that's going to be the future when Trent Williams leaves. So I like it. You get two guys that you can develop and be the future of this offensive line, and a premium cornerback like Patrick Surtain. Are you kidding me? If we get Mooney Ward, Surtain, and Lenore, I mean, how can you that if we walked out with a draft like that, Larry? We'd be so happy as Niner fans. I'm telling you, we'd be like Super Bowl. I love it.
Another offensive lineman to keep your eye on at his pro day, the Penn State linebacker, the offensive tackle, Caden Wallace,
Okay.
shared that he had met with all 32 teams, but engaging in really good talks with the Niners, Cardinals, and Dolphins. He says Caden Wallace, 4-year starter at right tackle at Penn State, says his Shrine Bowl work at guard boosted his draft stock. So
Hmm.
he was good at tackle, but he showed that he could play some guard. I like Caden Wallace quite a bit from Penn State. I mean, big, physical, tough offensive lineman who will bury you.
He's a
Um,
brawler.
yeah, he's a tough guy, which would be a nice little ad, especially on day 3 of the draft. All right. The other thing that I think is definitely worthy of getting into is the Aiyuk stuff. Let's talk a little bit about Aiyuk because there's the other day there was talk the Jaguars want him and maybe the Niners wanted Zay Jones in the 17th pick overall, which to me seems a little on the low side. Um, but maybe we have higher expectations for him. And
Yeah.
then the latest one is that the Steelers have come knocking and that Brandon has interest in playing for the Steelers. And then we see Brandon kind of going on social media back and forth with the head coach Mike Tomlin of the Steelers. What would you make of that little exchange online?
That was funny. I know a lot of people are worried about it. I'm not. It's just the way I look at it is Brandon Ayuk has kind of been trained by Debo Samuel in this situation. We all remember Debo's very memorable offseason when he was getting his contract. There's a lot of social media activity. That's what these players do. There's a lot of posturing, trying to get leverage. Right now, Brandon Ayuk doesn't have a lot of leverage, in my opinion. He's on his 5th year option. I'm sure teams are interested in those reports. People say they have sources. Whatever the case is, it's smoke season. People got to drum up interest and likes, and they're big on Twitter. They want their stories. I get all that, but I'm pretty sure every team in the NFL, all 31 teams, Larry, are interested in Brandon Ayuk. But I thought it was funny because there's always been people, posting Brandon Ayuk and Mike Tomlin look alike. They look like twins, and there's the side by sides everybody's putting. They literally look like twins. So I thought it was more cheeky fun, but it's a way for Brandon Ayuk to kind of start playing chess, like 40 chess, if you want to call it. He's starting to get the ball rolling in negotiations. This is just his fun way of saying, "Hey, look, teams might be interested. Let's start having fun here." I think there's nothing to be worried about, but of course, there's going to be fans that say, "Oh my God, he wants to be traded." Um, it's smoke season. We're going to see a lot of these types of things. If we learn anything from Debo Samuel, he'll do very similar things, but in his own way. I take it with a grain of salt because I see this every single year. I don't think the Niners are going to trade him. This is how it goes every single year.
This morning, Andrew Filipponi on the Pittsburgh area sports station 93.7 The Fan reported the Steelers have shown interest in trading for Ayuk, and then hours later, Ayuk put that out on social media, kind of yucking it up with Tomlin. You're right. I think that Ayuk doesn't have a lot of leverage here, and so here's the question though. There's a number. What is it? There's a number because it's like there have been people that said that Ayuk's going to get 23. I've seen people say that Ayuk's going to get 26.
Mhm.
If you're the 49ers, you got to have a number. You got to have a number that you're not willing to go beyond. And if Ayuk's camp wants to wait till the end of the free agent season to ask for his number, of course they do. That's when the
Mhm.
numbers are highest. What if his number is north of 30 and their break even or their goodbye number is 27?
I
Then
don't.
then we could see Ayuk gone, couldn't we?
I mean, if there's that big of a gap, absolutely there's a chance. And I'm sure that, that if there's a breakup in that communication, yeah, but I don't expect it to be that high because if you look at the market right now, you have to base it on what's going on. And that's why the Niners wait because they want to see how the market goes. Like Jerry Judy, 19 mil a year basically got paid for his extension. You got guys like, um, who else got paid? Calvin Ridley getting 24 million a year. So the
A lot of guaranteed
expect
money for
a lot
Ridley.
of guaranteed
Huge.
money, and I think that's the key. So if you look at these contracts, and Sport Track last month said it was going to be at 23 million a year. Now the number might have dipped a little bit higher because of the extra cap space. These other contracts that got signed recently, like we just talked about. So I think the number is probably in between 23 to 25. Maybe they could stretch to 26. He's got some leverage there in terms of what he's done compared to those receivers. Back to back 1,000 yards. He's an All Pro. He's fourth option, and he still put up 1,000 yards. So he has some leverage there, and he's really special in Pal system with his blocking. So there are some things there was a post a month ago. He was top 10 receiver with he was like 30th in reception, something like that. So he has some good leverage to talk about in negotiations. But I think it's going to be between 23, 26. And I think the key though, Larry, is the guaranteed money. And I think that's the number we need to worry about, not this month, yearly, whatever. That's not the number that matters. It's the guarantee that matters to these players. Because how much are they really getting is that guarantee. Everything else is incentives, and you catch this many touchdowns, you do this, you play this many games, you can get X amount of dollars. It's the guaranteed money. And I think that is the key number to look at. What is that number going to be, right? Is it going to be over 50? Is it going to be 60 million? That's the number we have to keep an eye on, is that guaranteed money.
It's going to be really interesting to see if they add a wide receiver in the draft. I mean, on paper, there's really no need for one, but You got Rice's son. You've got McCaffrey's brother. You've got all kinds of guys who can run exceptionally well. You would think if they could find a complementary burner, a down the field type threat that could open up some room underneath. Um, we've talked a little bit about their new guys, Floyd, Gross Matos, Elliott, Yadam, and who we like. What about loss wise? They lost Darnold, Warner, Kinlaw, Farrell, Ray, Burks, Pryor, Armstead. Is there anybody that you look at and go, oh man, they're going to rue the day they lost that guy?
Not necessarily, because again, they replaced all of those guys with people that are probably just as good, but also more durable. Like Kinlaw got replaced by Jordan Elliott, and he's durable. I love Armstead, really good player in the playoffs. A great like Armstead's probably the guy that people are like, oh my god, but he's entering his 10th year. He was getting paid a lot of money, and he missed a lot of games these last 2 years. They got Malik Collins, who's very durable, very good interior pass rusher. So I think they may not be the splashy names, but I think they replaced them with two guys that are going to be able to give you a lot of snaps. And everybody else, I think they replaced with someone just as good. We talked about Brandon Parker, the offensive lineman. He replaces Matt Pryor. Sam Darnold, I think it's a wash with Dobbs. Maybe Dobbs is a little better. Leonard Floyd takes Chase Young's spot. Honestly, I think all the moves they made were really good, and they replaced everybody. Devondre Campbell takes over Oren Burks, and if you watch that Super Bowl, Larry, Oren Burks didn't leave a lasting impression on Niner fans. So they the comments when we posted that Oren Burks got signed with the Eagles, they were like, "Sayonara, sayonara." So
Well, he got
I'm not
targeted
looking.
9 times. He gave up 9 catches.
Yeah, it's not a
You
good
know,
look.
it's not good. That's not good. Is there a free agent out there that you would like to see them pursue?
I still want Justin Simmons if they can make it happen. I don't know if the money's going to be right. I mean, I know they're not going to make another big splash, but if they still can, if they still have one more trick up their sleeve, I hope it's Justin Simmons.
You like the safety? I mean,
I
he's
do.
he's he's an intriguing guy. The guy for me would be Xavier Howard. If they can
Mm,
get Xavier Howard, it wasn't that long ago he was a number one cornerback. He's an former all pro. He only had one pick this last year, but um, maybe he could in this situation could dial it back to yesteryear. I mean, Xavier Howard's a damn good corner. It seems to me they could use a corner as good as he is.
I agree. The reason I like Simmons though is you need some depth in that that DB room. Gibson, we don't know if he's going to come back or if he's going to retire. There's been so many rumors. I love Jair Brown, young player. Want to make sure you have somebody to kind of be there, mentor him, and just in case he doesn't take that next step, I expect him to because Hufunga took that next step. But the guy I'm making sure is going to be 100% when he comes back is Zufunga, Torn ACL, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. You get a guy like Simmons, and at least it insulates the room. But they have two really strong safeties that we're excited to see, Hufunga and Brown. But I would love to see Justin Simmons on the team. Four-time second-team All-Pro. He's only 30. And Gibson was, 31 when the Niners signed him. So I think he's still got some juice left in him.
What do you make of the talk that Afonga may not be up to start going forward?
I think that's it, and that's why I would like another safety in there just in case. And I think it's because of the injury. Like how and I get those reports and saying, is he going to be 100%? That's a big injury for anybody, and especially a guy like him who's supposed to be relying on his instincts and running and cutting side to side and playing in the box. Hufunga did a lot. He did a lot of tracking and everything on the ball. And will he be 100%? That's a tough injury to come back from, no matter who you are. And will he be at his All Pro level? I don't know. So I do buy that. Yeah, that maybe Hufunga may not be 100% ready to start, but I know how good he is, how strong of a work ethic he has. His mindset is just amazing. You see training camp, he's always the first one in, last one out type guy. So I know he's going to work hard to get there, but will his knee allow him to get through the season? So that's why making Simmons or somebody that's a veteran safety in this free agency signing is important to me. It doesn't even have to be Simmons. Like Julian Blackman would be nice, but Simmons to me is the best one out there.
When you look at around the division and around the league, who in free agency do you think is just rocked it so far? Is there anybody
Um,
that really stands out to you?
yeah, honestly, I like what Houston's done. D'Amico's done a really good job out there, man. He put together a squad. Now he's got the draft, and he drafted really good last year. I think D'Amico's just figuring it out. He knows what he's doing. I like what he's done. I think Detroit's been sneaky. They've added a really good collection of players to their defense. Green Bay, I like what they've done. Holy smokes, man! Aaron Jones leaving, and then bringing in Josh Jacobs. Green Bay's good young team. We saw them take us to the limit last year in the playoffs, and they added a lot of good players on both sides of the ball. So I think those three teams really impressed me through the free agency period. What about you?
Well, I mean, I love the fact that Green Bay. I mean, if you're Green Bay, you got Xavier McKinney,
Mm-hmm.
and you got a really good running back. I mean, the Raider running back and McKinney. That's two outstanding players. So I thought Green Bay. To me, Green Bay is just, did a nice job. They don't do it with tons of numbers, but they get really good, useful players.
Yeah.
That they kind of stood out to me. As far as the Ayuk thing goes, before we move off of Ayuk, is there a number that you just say, you know what, it's too high, and we're moving off? I mean, what is that number? Because if it does go north of 30, are you just paying him, or are you moving him at that point?
If he wants $30 million, I mean, I love Brandon Ayuk, but that might be a little outlandish for 30 million. And it's not that he's probably worth 30 million. But here's the thing: if they're gonna pay him that much money, he needs to tell him, throw me the damn ball, throw me. You're gonna have to make him a big time focal part of this offense. But at the same time, that's just not the way this offense rolls. They have a lot of guys. The Yak brothers, you got Kittle and Debo. They need their ball. You got CMC. It's just not the way it rolls. You have Jennings, who's the big third down possession type guy. So I don't know. 30 million is a lot, but I don't think there's anybody in the draft that could come in right away and be better than Brandon Ayuk in this offense. I know there's going to be some really good receivers in this draft, and they're going to be Hall of Fame talented, like Marvin Harrison Jr. could be that guy. But right away, day one, I don't think they're going to be a better pro receiver than Brandon Ayuk. So it's tough, but $30 million is that's steep for Brandon Ayuk.
Raj, I was looking at Kuiper's mock today, and Daniel Jeremiah's mock, and
Hmm.
Jeremiah is saying Robinson, the
Yeah.
from Penn State, the defensive end, and Mel Kiper's going Roger Rosengarten from Washington, who's kind of a considered to be like a second or third round pick at 31. um, if it came to 31 right now, just based on what I know you're not necessarily doing the deep dive on the draft, but who are you hoping is there at 31?
I mean, I would love to get Chop Robinson if he falls to 31. I would
That's who
take what
Jeremiah has.
that's who Jeremiah has. Yeah, I'd take what who moved the sticks has Jeremiah has. If between those two, I'd go Chop. If he's there, you take best player available, and he would be fantastic on this line. But who I'm hoping for, I like the guy out of Georgia, the tackle Mims. That guy, he's a monster, man. I think PFF mocked us to get Mims recently this week. He'd be a fantastic tackle at 31. He's not one of the, most elite guys. He's still like a raw talent, but he has all the tools to be just this flat out monster at tackle for the I want Mims at 31. Honestly, the more I've seen, the more I've watched, I'm a big Mims guy.
I mean, how could you not be, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the guy's 6'8". He's 340 pounds. He's got ridiculous long arms. My only concern, he hasn't played very much.
Yeah.
And then it's like, why? Why hasn't he played very much? But I could go wide receiver. I could go defensive line. I could go offensive tackle. I know Trent Williams is a big fan of Tyler Guyton.
Mm.
Um, and Guyton is 6'8", 320 pounds. He would be nice for sure.
Yeah,
I don't
those
know
are
if
all good choices. I
yeah.
mean, again, the Niners are in a good spot here, Larry. Like we said, they're in a really good position. They've put themselves in prime position. They could trade. They can keep the 31st pick and go best available. Someone's gonna drop. Someone's gonna drop, and they always do. And Niners are gonna be there to pounce on it.
Um, how even though they have Debo and Ayuk and JJ, the Niners have worked out some wide receivers. Do you think there's any chance they go wide out?
Not early, because I still think that the three receivers they have, it's gonna be hard to beat them unless you're just like this generational unless they go get like Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison, like you said, one of those guys. You get one of those guys, they're going to be on your starting roster, but they don't necessarily need that. I know they need a return man. Ray went to Atlanta, so maybe you go get a receiver that could be a return man. Maybe you kick the tires on Ronnie Bell on being a little bit more involved in the running in the return game. So we'll see. And I like Ronnie Bell. He looked really um, solid last year as a rookie. He had some moments. He had some not so good moments. He had some rookie mistakes, but he flashed some good potential. I think they're a fan of him. This wide receiver room is stacked. They got back Chris Conley, who's a veteran. He's a really good. He was a superhero in the playoffs, man. He went and became a little underrated type guy for the Niners. So they got a pretty good receiver room. I think they still will get a receiver, but honestly, I think if they do get one, it's going to be more of a return man because you got to replace Ray. I think Kyle's happy with the receivers he has. His main three, the Yak Bros, Debo, Ayuk, and Jennings, and it's going to be hard, like I said, to replace them. And also, 49ers receivers, you have to learn how to block, or you ain't even going to get on the field. Because look at Danny Gray. That guy struggled to get on the field, hasn't had the fundamentals down that Kyle wants him, and he's had some injuries. So,
I think it's more the injury factor for Danny Gray, but he's not an exceptional blocker either.
yeah.
You saw Chase Young went to the Saints. Is Leonard Floyd significantly better than Chase Young, or are they comparable? Well, how do you see the? Let's just say it. Floyd is in, Chase Young's out as the starter opposite Bosa. How much of a win or loss is that for the Niners in your mind?
I think it's a big win, honestly. And I love Chase. And I think the thing with Chase was when he came out of college, the hype was just insane. And it was like, oh my God, he's going to be better than Bosa. Injuries kind of hurt him a little bit. I think that ACL really dampened him. A lot of people question his work ethic. I mean, we've seen it personally. We've seen him take some plays off here and there. The big plays in the playoffs. You know what I'm talking about. I just feel like he was inconsistent. Injuries kind of hurt him. He got paid $13 million, Larry, guaranteed. And there was a report today from I think it was Schefter that said he's getting a neck operation, and he's hopefully going to be able to be there by training camp. We dodged a bullet there. I hope he's okay. I pray for him. I don't want to wish injury on anybody, but having a neck operation, getting $13 million a year, the Niners definitely got the dub here by taking Leonard Floyd, who hasn't missed a game in 108 straight games, knock on wood. And his production, if you compare the two side by side, is way better. He has 108 straight games, and he has at least 9 sacks in each one of the last 4 years. Chase Young, not even close. So I think the Niners took a dub here. 2 years, $20 million compared to 1 year, 13 mil guaranteed for a guy that has a neck operation coming up. Big
Yeah,
dub,
no,
Larry.
I think it's a major upgrade.
Yeah.
How about if you want to call it a trade of Eric Armstead for Malik Collins and Jordan Elliott? Outgo Hargrave, outgo Armstead and Kinlaw, income Collins and Elliott. Are the Niners better off? Neutral move, lateral, or are they worse off? How do you see that trade off?
In a way, I think they're better because what I mentioned earlier is they're both durable. They're both going to be healthy. Knock on wood that they are. Armstead's great. He's fantastic in the playoffs, but he was eating up a lot of cap space and he didn't play a lot of games over the last 2 years. And the big issue to me, it wasn't even the knee injury, the meniscus. He played through it. Tough warrior. I love that for him. But he had plantar fasciitis. That is such a nagging chronic injury that it might flare up again. That injury cost him two like he missed a lot of games, big chunk of games in two seasons. So Malik Collins and Jordan Elliott, they may not be better than Armstead talent wise, but they're going to see the field. So you're going to get your money's worth out of those guys. And to me, it's worth it because they're going to be on the field and they're both underrated defensive tackles. I like the move.
If you said 49er fans are most concerned about these three positions going into next year, what would the three positions be?
Hmm. Right tackle, pretty
Right
much
tackle.
everyone. Yeah, pretty much everyone in the O line. Right tackle, I say right guard too, because Feliciano's not going to be there next year most likely, and that's a position. And then cornerback, I think we still, like you said earlier, you were still kind of that nickel corner spot is been biting us in the ass, Larry. I mean, they keep on having to rotate people. They last year, the year before, they were throwing Jimmy Ward in there because they just didn't have an answer. They got a lot of guys, but they haven't proven themselves. Daryl Luter, Womack, Ambry Thomas. People are sour on him now. So I think cornerback, and then the two right side of the O line.
Yeah, I might say number one corner is a major need. But but then if they're not confident in Hafanga, safety becomes a big need because I mean, what do you have there? You have Jair Brown, George Odom, who's a special teamer, Eric Harris, Taylor Hawkins. You don't really have anything behind Jair Brown with Gibson as a free agent. I might say safety if they're really concerned about Hafanga. How concerned are you about the safety position?
I mean, yeah, if Ufunga isn't able, like we said, if he's not able to come back, I'm definitely concerned because he's a big loss. I think the Niners really missed Ufunga last year. Gibson's great, but he's probably not coming back. And Ufunga was a All Pro in his second year. The guy was a star on this team, and you could tell they were trying to get players, Eric Harris, and they were trying to get veterans, Logan Ryan, just trying to get somebody out there that can make some plays. And the thing with Hufanga was he was such a playmaker, but I expect him to come back strong, and be back to himself. But again, you never know how anybody's going to respond to an injury like that. So yeah, that is a concerning issue. That's why I said earlier, I would love to see them get a guy like Justin Simmons.
One of the things that the Niners never want to do, and as a Niner fan, I'm always like, I kind of wish they did it, is hard knocks. I kind of like, I love hard knocks, and it would be cool to see the Niners in there, but then I don't want to see them give away their secrets and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it kind of
So,
doesn't.
but last year, Netflix did this series on Mahomes and Mariota and Cousins quarterbacks, and I thought it was really, really good. Now Netflix is going to do a 5-part deal on receivers, and two of the five receivers are Debo and Kittle. Do you see that? That
Yeah, yeah.
we're gonna get that next summer. I'm looking
Uh,
forward to that, man. I think that would be pretty cool.
I'm so hyped. Yeah, I saw that this morning. We posted that, and I was geeked up because I like the quarterback show. That was really fun. I think, and you couldn't have picked two more entertaining guys, Debo and Kittle. Man, those two guys when the cameras are on them, I mean, it's just fantastic. They're mic'd up segments. There's so many times where Debo, I posted earlier, if you remember the Dallas Cowboys playoff game a couple years back where Debo's on the sideline. He's like, yo, George, put us in your backpack. Put us in your backpack. And then next couple plays, the one handed crazy play that Kittle gets, and he's like, and Debo's just looking like, like they're going to have some good moments on this, and it's behind the scenes. I think Tim Kawakami tweeted out earlier. I don't know if you noticed it. He goes, I wonder why there was extra cameras all around the stadium this year or practices. So did you notice extra cameras this year at training camp? No.
There were more cameras this year than last year.
Okay, so maybe that's what
And the
it is.
Niners also have their own internal, group that does
Yeah.
a pretty nice job as well. Um, as far as wide receiver goes, if do you think if you had to say between Jennings, Ayuk, and Debo, which guy will be the first guy to depart? Who would you say it would be?
Wow, the first guy to depart between those three guys. Oh man. Probably Jennings because I don't know how if he's gonna get an extension this year. I think he's just gonna get his 1 year tender unless they reach a multi-year deal with them. Because I expect Ayuk to get an extension, which would probably be another 3-4 years. Debo, he's got another year, so he'll probably be back next year, unless something happens. But I expect Jennings this year to get the tender, and then next year he'll go free agency, and they'll replace him somehow. So I guess I'm gonna say Jennings. That's a good question. Who do you think?
I'm thinking it's probably going to be Debo because I think
Okay.
Jennings is such a winner, and
Yeah.
he's a cheaper player, and Ayuk is just going to age better,
Yeah.
unless Ayuk demands $32 million, and then I think they're prepared to move off of Ayuk and trade him for a mid first round pick. I really, and I'm not as much as I like Ayuk. Um, if you could get the right veteran player and the right pick from the right team and make the right draft choice, I mean, it's not like there's no way I could ever see moving him. But I'd rather keep him. I mean, at this point, unless somebody's going to offer you multiple picks, I'd rather keep him.
Okay, so you think I was just gonna ask you what's BA's trade value? What do you think he's worth? Is it
I would say it's a mid first round pick and a player,
okay?
or a mid first round pick and a third. I think
Okay,
he's worth
okay.
more than just one pick. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. Again, I just don't think there's a lot of receivers that are better than him coming in right away. Like he's so like, you're not going to find a guy that's more pro ready than him. And the draft is a gamble. We've seen it before. The 49ers traded away DeForest Buckner. They took the 13th pick. They were so gung ho on replacing him. And we saw what happened with Kinlaw. There was a lot of pressure on him. The injuries mounted up, and they weren't able to replace Defoe. So it's a crapshoot. You never know. And 49ers historically have not had a good track record in the first round with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Although Brandon Ayuk, first round pick, Nick Bosa, first round pick. So they've had a few hits here and there, but overall, they haven't really done a good job in the first round. So it's scary to think if they do trade them, who the hell are they going to get
Well, I
with the
mean,
pick?
here's the one thing that comes to mind. This Mike Tomlin is one of the longest tenured coaches in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
His teams win all the time, but they haven't really done anything in the playoffs in a while now. And you look at their record. I mean, they're almost always a good football team.
Mm-hmm.
He was there 2007, first year, 10-6, then 12-4, 9-7, 12-4, 12-4. One of those years they won the Super Bowl. One year they lost the Super Bowl. Then they go to 8-8, 8-8, 11-5, 10-6, 11-5, 13-3. But since 2018, they went 9-6-1, 8-8. They did have 1-12-4, then 9-7, 9-8, 10-7. The guy never loses in the regular season, but they haven't progressed in the playoffs and won. And I'm just kind of wondering if you think that there's maybe a little pressure on Tomlin.
Yeah.
Why do teams want veteran receivers when there's so many great young receivers coming out in the college game and the draft is littered with such depth at wide receiver? Because they can't wait around for a wide receiver to develop. So they want somebody who can win right now. All I'm
Yeah.
saying is it might be worth, taking a look at the Steelers depth chart and finding out how bad they want Brandon Ayuk, because there's some good young players on the Steelers
Yeah. I mean,
that you could take back in return. I mean, um, several good young players. I mean, I'm a big Najee Harris fan, but I'm not saying Najee's a good fit. But they've got Joey Porter Jr. They've got the former Wisconsin star Nick Herbig. They've got some young players that are pretty decent. If you could get a good young player from them and their first round pick, you know, all I'm saying is you might be able to hold up Pittsburgh, because Tomlin might be under some pressure to actually win games this
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why not just pick a young receiver that you like? Instead, to talk about Ayuk, to me, that seems like an indication that there may be some pressure there to actually, I mean, they didn't just go for Justin Fields. They went for Justin Fields and for Russell Wilson. Well, why is that? Because they want to be good next year.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
That
I mean,
that's a good
I'm
point.
just saying, if they want Ayuk, that's fine, but hold them up, because they, you know, they're looking at a receiving core going, if we draft any of these guys, will any of them be good this year? Well, none of them are going to be good as Ayuk. So, all I'm saying is maybe the Niners could get a premium in return.
Yeah, if you're gonna trade a guy like Ayuk, you go and swing for the fences and get a king's ransom. You at the end of the day, you have to at least try. If they say the worst they could say is no, say no, and that's it. But I think you're right. I think Mike Tomlin, as much as he's won over the years, he is under pressure because he hasn't won in the playoffs, and everybody says, okay, he doesn't have a losing record in the regular season. But what does it mean? What does it matter if you can't get over the hump and win this? It's like what everybody's now saying with Kyle, right? And I know Tomlin has a Super Bowl, so it's kind of like he's still hanging on to that. But the Niners They get so close every year, but then it's like, when is Kyle gonna win a Super Bowl? So there's a lot of pressure on Kyle, and it's like at some point, if he doesn't get it together, he's got to get out of there. And I'm sure there's people in Pittsburgh media that say, this guy can't get this team back to the Super Bowl, then winning in the regular season doesn't matter. Figure it out. Get a guy that could win with this team, when it matters. So I could see that, and it makes sense why he would maybe want to go out for Brandon Ayuk. But again, I just don't think the Niners have any desire unless the deal is so sweet that you'd look like a fool in turning it down. So it's gonna be interesting when all these reports come out closer to the draft.
It's gonna be really interesting to see. I wonder if the Niners know what Brandon's number is.
Mm,
Because if they do, then that's maybe why you're hearing the trade talks.
yeah,
Because they know his number's fat, and they know they can't match it. We'll see.
I don't.
Last one before we. Oh, go ahead.
I don't think anybody knows the number. I think what you said earlier is, I think it'll all come out to the table after the draft. I just think that's how the way the Niners roll. I honestly don't even think they've. My take on it, and this is just me reaching. I don't think anybody. I don't think they've opened up negotiations yet.
For Ayuk.
Yeah,
Oh, well, the talk was they were going to wait until after the free agent signing period,
correct.
but
And that's
that's
why I
going to
don't think.
favor Ayuk.
Probably.
So You know, that's what there's the old saying, listen to what people say, but it's more important that you watch what they do. And it's like, if you look at what the Niners are saying, they're saying, hey, we love Ayuk, man. We want him back. But they're working out, JC Latham and Taliesin Fuaga and, guys that are going to go in the middle of the first round. It just makes me wonder, they probably have some cutoff point that they are just going to be like, you know what? Sorry, Brandon. For that much, we'd rather trade you. We'd
Oh
rather trade
man,
you and move on. I
dagger.
hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm
I
wrong.
hope you're wrong too, because that's disgusting to hear. It's a dagger.
Yeah, but I mean, otherwise, why are you working out guys that are going to go in the 15th pick?
I get it. I get it. You're
You
right.
know, last one. Patrick Willis says the Niners are still the team to beat in the NFC. You
Smart.
agree?
Of course, Patrick Willis, a Hall of Famer. I don't disagree with the Hall of Famer. Heck yeah, they are. Come
They're
on,
the
man.
team to beat over Detroit, over Philly,
Yeah,
over everybody else. They're still
they're
the
all
team to
catching
beat.
up to us. They're still catching up to us. We still got
Okay,
a Super Bowl roster, 7 All Pros, 9 Pro Bowlers. That not people are still catching up to the Niners. Yes, they're still the team to beat.
still the
Still,
team to beat. Who
yeah.
is the number? Who's Clubber Lang? Yeah, who's from Rocky 3? Who's the number one contender?
I think it's the Packers. I think we talked about them earlier. How they improve with Xavier McKinney. I really like that pickup too. Jordan Love's going to get better this year. I'm really, really high on Green Bay. I mean, they were scary in the playoffs. Just watching them and seeing, Love and his progression and everything, I'm like, this is going to be a team that's going to be a hard beat next year. Although Detroit is very close, I really like the Lions. I like what Campbell's doing. I mean, he's a heck of a coach, but I think they peaked. I don't know if Detroit's going to get back to that point. I think next year NFC Championship's going to have the Packers and probably the Niners in it, but I think the Packers are the team number one contender. I know there's a lot of hype on the Eagles, but honestly, man, I think they're just overhyped at this point. The Niners, I think they live rent free in the Eagles. Like the Eagles are trying to match the Niners stride for stride. Oh, they got CMC. We need Saquon Barkley. I think it makes them so mad that the Niners came out last year and what it was all the offseason talk. If they had Brock Purdy, they're going to beat the Eagles, and they crushed the Eagles. I'm not a big NFC East guy. I think that's the most overrated conference in a division in the
I'm gonna
NFL.
I'm gonna go Detroit, man.
Yeah.
Detroit added DJ Reader, and he's
Mm.
such a great run stuffer. And now you got Aiden Hutchinson and DJ Reader on the same line.
Yeah.
A guy who can really rush the passer, a guy who can really stuff the run. I thought that was a tremendous pickup.
Did they get
Detroit's getting
Davenport
better.
also? They
They
got
also got
Davenport.
Marcus
Yeah.
Davenport, yeah.
Defense is good. Yeah, I agree. They're good.
And they re-signed Emmanuel Mosley, you know,
Mm.
and I think they added Amik Robertson from the Raiders. So I mean, they know what they need to do. They need to bolster their defensive line. They need to get better in the secondary. They're doing it. I think Detroit's going to be scary, man. We'll see. They still have to lean on golf, but I think
Then
Detroit's.
that's the big issue is, and no disrespect to Goff, had a renaissance. He was good, but I give the edge to Green Bay because Jordan Love, man, that guy's he hasn't even peaked yet. Jordan Love might be Give me top five quarterback, Larry. He's good.
Raj, did they leave you out of the media, or no? Are you in there? Just
Not
not
this year. They
under.
didn't. They didn't leave me out last year. The fans they spoke on my name and they delivered because I guess there was like a they posted a couple weeks ago. Who did we leave out last year? And everybody's like, "Oh, you got to put Raj RSF
So
49."
so,
So
but you're
uh,
listed under RSF 49ers.
they list me as they kind of did me dirty. They list me under SF Niners. They didn't list me under our SF 49ers. But when you go to the voting page, it shows my logo and it shows RSF 49ers. So
Who are you
we're in there.
taking on in the first round?
49ers Sports Talk 247.
Oh, you got
We
that, man.
cooking them. We cooking them, baby.
You
I
got that.
wanted. I saw your bracket. You got a pretty easy layup to get to where you need to go. I'm
I
pulling
don't
for
know. I
you.
got a guy named Sourdough Sam or something.
Sour Death Sam.
Sour
He's a
Death Sam.
cult. He's got a cult following, but I think you're cooking him. I'm predicting you're making to the at least the Elite Eight, hopefully against me. But I got Crocky in my bracket, so he won last year. I don't know, but I want
It
all my
doesn't.
fans to pull up
It
for me and vote for your boy. I want to go against Larry in the Elite Eight.
it doesn't look good for me because I saw my son had printed a bracket. My youngest son, my 14-year-old, and he had Dave Lombardi and Chase Senior in the finals.
Oh,
I'm like,
what? That's who picked?
he's like, Dad, I have you losing to Chase Senior.
Your own son picked
My
against
own
you?
son.
Oh no,
I
he's
said,
not your son anymore.
you know what? That's so funny because Chase Senior lives in Dallas. Isn't that where you're going to be living next? In
Oh my.
Dallas?
Chase isn't
I,
even a Niners fan. He just posts
I go,
about him because
you're going against me for a guy who lives in Dallas and roots for the Eagles.
and he's an Eagles fan. Oh, your son,
Yeah,
discredit him.
yeah.
Discredit him.
It's
Oh
a
my
bad.
god.
It's a I told him how I felt about it, and
Oh.
it wasn't good. But there you
This,
go. Alex says, "Keep your enemies closer."
oh
Yes.
man. Oh.
So last year, I think I lost to Barrows somewhere on the way. I don't expect to lose this time around.
Oh.
So hopefully the Krug Show Army
I hope so.
rises
So,
up and supports me.
there's a couple people that want to know. So, if you guys go on the Gold Standard Network, or was it Gold Standard Niners on Twitter, they
Uh-huh.
have a March Madness poll. So, pull it up, and you can go vote on their website. After you vote, it took a day or so because yesterday was like all glitchy, but today it's good. It's all set, and after you vote, it tabulates the actual live votes, so you can see the
I
results right
mean,
now.
I'm gonna get carpal tunnel voting so many times. I'm just gonna sit there and just vote and vote and vote and vote. I've got to excel in this. If I
You got
lose
it. You got
out in this, well, somebody said I got your back. Who was it? So here it is. We've got Muff D says I got your back,
go.
Larry.
You got.
Muff
I
D,
want.
I need a movement. I need something. You think Biden and Trump are trying to get it going? I need your vote, and I need it now, and
We need.
I need it in multiple.
We need a Larry Krueger Raj Elite Eight matchup. That will feed families for generations right there. That's what we need. That's what we
Raj,
need.
if I lose to you, I will relinquish my channel. I will. I'm. It would disgust me. I mean, I can lose
Wow.
to others, but if I lose to you, Raj, it will
To
bother me
me, you
that much
gonna
more. No, no, I'm
why?
just
Oh
no, I'm
man, we're
no, I'm
coming
just
for blood.
joking.
We are taking this boy down. You
I'm
guys
just
heard him.
joking.
Take down Larry. We're coming for your neck. I'm gonna drop all my 361K followers on Instagram on your neck, my man.
Muff
Oh
D
man.
is voting for me for president. Dusty Gold says, "Make Larry great again." Um, Alive Insurance says we need a voting drive for Larry.
Oh
Seriously,
man.
my own kid prefers Chase Senior,
That's gross.
a
An Eagles
guy
fan.
a guy who's standing in Texas rooting for the Eagles and telling you about the Niners. It's got
Uh,
my kid's vote over
uh,
me.
that tells you what.
I
That
mean,
tells you all you need to know about your son.
it's not good, man. It's just not good. Where did I go wrong as a parent? Seriously, I mean, I have Kev, he's solid. My
Yeah.
daughter's solid. My second son is solid, but my youngest son Where did I go wrong?
Where'd
I
you
made
mess up
life
with them?
I made life too easy for him.
I guess
Something
so.
happened along the way. He became a
Uh,
Chase Senior fan.
I'm voting right now, Larry. I want to pull up. I'm gonna vote, and I want to see the results right now. I want to see where your vote is right now on.
Yeah, find out. Let's find out where my vote is. If you guys could go out there and everybody who's in here, we've got over 1,500 people hanging. If we could get all of them to vote for Larry, that I would appreciate that.
Oh
Um,
man,
as many votes as possible for me. If you want to throw in a few for Raj, throw in a few for Raj too, because
throw it in
Raj
for me. Come on, let's see.
throw a
I'm gonna
couple in
look at
for
your
Raj.
bracket. I'm
But
looking at your
please,
bracket.
more important than voting for Raj, vote for me.
Let's see.
Please vote for me. Red Eye says Chase Senior is a very good communicator. He's got Larry beat there. Hashtag
Oh,
truth. Red Eye,
Larry.
that ain't
Okay,
right.
I got this live numbers right now. These are the stats right now. We're gonna go right
This
to
is
it.
up to the moment with all the
This
precincts
is up
recording.
to the moments right now. We got the voting tabulated. Sour Death Sam has 334 votes.
Okay.
Larry Kruger has 574 votes. So, bearing any surprise comeback, you're probably advancing to the next round.
But
Should I tell
barely
you?
over
Yeah,
a guy named who?
Sour Death Sam.
I don't
That's
know
a
my
big
Sour Death.
Sour Death.
Have you been on with Sour Death?
I don't, but I know who he is. He's a funny
Am
guy.
am I better than Sour Death?
You are, but
Or
he
is
has
Sour Death
he's
better than
quirky.
me?
He's quirky. He has a cult following. If you ever seen the Kyle 3000, like the AI bot, he's the guy that runs that little. Like he'll
I
give you
don't
like
want
a
to
little.
beat Sour Death if Sour Death is superior.
No, he's not. You cooking him,
Okay. I'm
Larry. You're
just
superior to Sour Death. No
I'm
disrespect to Sour Death. You got him
okay.
beat. So you're
All
winning
right.
that. Do you want me to
Then
tell
what?
you?
Yeah. What? Where are you? What are you? How are you doing in the first round?
So let's see. My first round pick. I'm up against 49er Sports Talk. I got 648 to his 252. We're cooking, baby.
Oh yeah.
We're
You've got a
cooking now.
big IG audience. You're a very popular mover shaker. How about
Now,
John Lund? How's he doing?
let's see. Let me find him. Who's he playing against?
I think he's going against Grant Cohn in the first
Oh,
round.
oh. Okay, John Lunn, 351. Grant Cohn, 566. Cohn's got
Man,
him.
Cohn's
Done.
got Lund in his
He does.
crosshairs.
He does. Oh, this is probably the closest matchup in the first round. John Chapman has 439, and Akash, Anavar, you know
Avaranthon.
Akash, yeah. He has 467. 439 to 467. That's razor close.
So Akash could be taking down Chapman.
The number one
Goes
seed.
on the Chapman goes on the road with the fans, and Akash no road time at all can take down
Yeah.
Chapman.
Akash is underrated. I don't know. Let me.
How's
You want
Damon
to know?
Bruce doing? Can you check Damon Bruce?
I sure can. Do you want me to tell you what Chase Senior's doing?
Yes. What's Chase Senior doing? Hopefully somebody bumps him off early. Maybe
So let me. You're gonna like this. Jennifer Lee Chan has 620 votes. Chase Senior has 290.
JLC rising up.
Yay!
JLC
you're gonna have
rising
to.
up.
You're gonna have to take her down.
Oh my God,
Who do you want me to
JLC
look? Who do you want me to look up?
Damon Bruce. How's Damon doing?
Damon Bruce. Let me see. Damon. Ooh. Oh, this might be the closest matchup. Actually, closer than John Chapman's matchup. Check this. Joe Shasky has 454 votes. Damon Bruce has 427. Razor thin. That's a down to the wire.
That's 95.7 yesterday, 95.7 today. How
Woo!
about Jesse and Vish? How are Jesse and Vish doing?
Okay, Jesse right now has 401 votes, and Kyle Posey has 504. Kyle Posey has him right now.
Kyle Posey
Um,
is really good. I mean,
he is.
let's be honest. Kyle Posey's fantastic. How about Vish Kumaran?
Let me find my boy Vish. Let me find Vish. I think Vish is gonna win just on his picture profile picture. He's got a very good looking headshot there. Vish Kumaran, 683 votes. Rich Madrid, 224 votes. Oh, Vish is cooking him.
Rich Madrid will be taken down in Spokane, so he can only watch film and He will not be able to move on. He will
But Vish
just
could kill.
be angry watching film,
Oh man.
taken down by Vish.
Do you want to know
Um,
the biggest blowout right now? Okay,
is there a
so
big upset? Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's
Eric
Crocker doing?
Crocker has 818 votes. Al Sacco has 100. That is a cook. Oh man, he's cooking them.
Man, see, Al, you got to get on YouTube. It's
I
not just
know.
about the
I know.
podcast. The
It's everywhere.
podcast is nice, but you got to get on YouTube.
You do.
How about Brian Murphy? Is he on there?
Okay, yeah, I'm
Murph,
looking at him.
what's
He
Murph
has
doing?
406 votes, and
Yes.
Bonta Hill, his opponent, has 472. So I play the winner of that
Morning
matchup.
Show 95.7 beating Morning Show KNBR.
Cooked.
Very
Wow.
interesting.
Wow. I
How about
love it.
Paulie Mack? Is there a Paulie Mack ledger you can share with us?
Let me see. Let me see what we got. Let me see what we got. Polly Mac.
Paulie
Is he
Mack. I
on?
think he's in there. I thought he was in there.
I don't see him. Let me see.
He's got a little bit of a cold following out of Marin.
I don't see him.
No,
I
I'm
don't
just
see him.
joking. You know,
I don't
Paulie's
see
in
him.
there. Paulie's in there for sure. I just don't.
Is he?
Yeah, they added him this year.
Okay. Oh, Paul McCaffrey. Here we go.
Yeah. How's he
Oh,
doing?
he's playing. Okay, so Paul McCaffrey, 249 votes. Guy Haberman, 643. Guy's a popular guy.
Haberman moving on to the second
Yeah.
round.
Yeah. Wow. It's impressive. Oh, we got it. We got one of the biggest beat. Actually, this is the biggest beatdown. Sorry. I take back. Crocker beating Sacco isn't the biggest beatdown. We have Matt Mayoko, powerhouse.
Yeah.
866 votes for Mayoko. Josh Dubow, 54. Oh, I feel bad for him.
Oh, poor Josh.
Wow.
He
Wow.
he comes from such a good family.
He's a nice guy.
Um, he's a nice guy. And
Yeah.
he's not young, but he's nice. Gizmo Maltese says Purdy is not a deep ball guy. Shouldn't we focus more on tall receivers who can high point the ball? Anyone like that in the draft? Brian Thomas, LSU.
I like it.
That's your guy. Josh Dowling says you never heard of Sour Death Sam. It's a good show, and Brad Graham is a guest. Ha ha. You're definitely better. I had not heard of the death. What time's the death go on?
I'm not sure, but I've seen him. He's a good guy. He's all over Twitter. He was like a
Is he
parody
local?
account.
Is it one guy or is it a show or?
Yeah, it's one guy. It's a he has a Twitter, and then he eventually just made a YouTube this year. So Sour Death Sam on Twitter. He's kind of like he runs like, I guess, like a meme type page, like Twitter meme page, but then he went and he makes this like legit a YouTube show, and it's funny. It's like public access. He's kind of like a quirky guy. He's actually very good with what he does.
So I look into the camera and I say to my audience, please vote for me. Give me the support that I need to carry me through. I need your vote. I need your support. If I lose this and my son, if I got to stare down my son, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to go in this house right now and I'm going to tell him, I'm going to say JLC is crushing Chase Sr.
He's getting cooked.
Chase Sr. is getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, he is.
No, I love Chase Sr.
I like Chase. He's a good dude.
I stream with him on Fridays, and I really do enjoy it. He brings a lot of energy, and he's good. Alive Insurance says, vote Larry for his son's sake. Yeah, seriously. Offset the votes of my offspring with positive votes for me. Yeah. Do for me what my own children refuse to do for me. Oh, how about Hensley? Where's Hensley in this little extravaganza?
Let's see. Hensley. Let me see. Where is it at?
Where's the great Hens?
Oh, he's playing Jordan Elliott. Not the Niners, Jordan Elliott. 373 to 539. Jordan Elliott is beating him.
Jordan Elliott, who does not even have a show. He's
popular on the Twitter.
He's popular. Yeah.
Splash
Hens.
He's kind of
Hens has got to get off the deck if he's going to take down. If you're a Hensley supporter, don't let him lose to Jordan Elliott.
Jordan Elliott, he's been around Twitter for a long time, man. He's a throwback.
I know, but I mean, I love Jordan Elliott, but I mean, come on, I mean, Hens works hard on that channel.
We're seeing what the fans like. We're seeing who they like.
They better like me, damn it.
How they love
all you people better vote for me. Just start yelling.
Man, Larry might have a meltdown.
What if I just start yelling at the audience?
You're gonna have a meltdown. If JLC beats you, Larry, you might not stream for a week.
You guys better get out there and you better vote. And you better vote for me, damn it. Or I'm coming to your house.
Oh, I don't know if we want that.
Maybe that's not good.
Well, if you come over, bring some pig in a pickle for me.
Free barbecue for everybody who votes for Larry.
Oh, you can't promise that. You can't promise that.
You can just walk into the barbecue place and just get just tell them that Larry said everything is not just everything goes. No, we're joking. No, we can't do that. We can't do that. But please vote for me. And I mean that in all seriousness. Do it for your boy. Do it for me. I don't know what I get out of this. It doesn't matter, but this means everything to me. Everything. I love my wife, but it's secondary. I love my family. I love my family. They're secondary. Come on. They're only here for the easy living. I need your vote. Vote for me, Larry Krueger, to beat out these other. Vote early, vote often. Let's turn this into Cook County, baby. Let's vote a lot. Let's just get out there and vote. Is Willard in this thing? I've got a good little rivalry with Willard.
Let me see. I'll go back to the brackets I had.
Any Willard in there?
Let me see.
Dusty Gold. Larry's manhood is at stake. Is there Willard?
I'm looking.
Someone's like, what's next, Larry? Kissing babies. Yes. I will kiss your baby. I will hug your child. I will high five your neighbor. I will do whatever I need to do for your vote.
He didn't make it.
I want your vote. No Willard?
No.
Wow.
Really?
No Willard?
Didn't make the cut.
Wow. No Dibs either. I guess you can't get Willard, you can't get Dibs. They're a partner.
Didn't make the cut.
All right. Well, get out there, everybody, and vote for Krueger. All right. And you know what? Throw a vote to Raj too. But more importantly, vote for me. Do you like how I'm shamelessly you just put a vote? You put any kind of a contest out there, and I suddenly I'm not so gracious anymore. I'm like,
I know.
Join Raj. Forget Raj.
Forget me.
Vote for me, damn it.
I'm gonna get all my followers on you though. Don't worry. If we play against each other, Larry, we're coming for your neck.
Oh no, don't say that.
That's what's happening.
Oh, here we go. We'll finish with this. Blood Moon says not voting for Larry Krueger is like being an American.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. I mean, it's been an emotional show.
Yeah,
I thank you all for voting. All right, that does it for us. Hey, Raj, when do you stream next, man? When do you go again?
I'll be live again tomorrow. I'm live every day. This free agency, we've been lucky to have a few days off here and there during the week, so I've been live every time something happens, but not this week. I'll be live tomorrow, maybe like 5 p.m. Pacific, and then also Thursday and Friday. But it's been a good week. We've been live. We've been getting all the content. On Instagram, I'm live all the time during the evening, so same stuff.
Everybody follow Raj, but at the end of the day, vote for me.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you won't get exactly what you